Welcome to the 2020 State of the City. My name is Christina Hudson, and I am Executive Director of OneRedmond, and I will be your host for today's program. We are very excited to see you all here, and make sure you turn on your cameras so we can put you in our virtual audience. And if everybody wants to give a wave on the camera, be great to see you. Oh, I love it. Now keep your cameras on so we can showcase everyone from time to time. So 2020, we all know this has been a tough year. One thing that we know to be true is that we are stronger together. At OneRedmond, we are both a chamber and an economic development organization. It is our job to connect, to advocate, and to partner. OneRedmond connects commerce to community and gives access to resources. This year, we have assisted over 2,000 small businesses in delivering financial guidance and resources. All this is in partnership with the City of Redmond and the Small Business Development Center. During this pandemic, maximizing cash flow is a crucial step for our small businesses as they work hard to weather this storm. To try and help our small businesses save dollars, I am pleased to announce a new partnership with Business Health Trust. This partnership helps us provide access to health insurance at group discount rates, giving our members more options for cost savings. To develop our community, OneRedmond advocates with a unified voice on business competitiveness, affordable housing, transportation, and education. OneRedmond is a public-private partnership, which means we can do more in less time. We partner with government, business, education, and community. We work together to bring the community the future we all envision, a future with well-paying family wage jobs, a future with strength and diversity and inclusivity, and a future with affordable housing and a sustainable environment. Now, as we begin our program, I would like to thank all our sponsors for their support to make this production possible. First, I would like to thank the City of Redmond, our co-host for this event. And next, I'd like to thank our presenting sponsors, Business Health Trust. This new partnership with Business Health Trust will help provide companies from 2 to 200 employees with affordable healthcare choices without sacrificing quality of benefits. And they have been doing this for over 25 years. And again, we are very excited to make this option available to our members. And our next presenting sponsor is our newest member, Overlake Medical Center and Clinics. And next, I would like to thank our supporting sponsor, Davis Wright Terrain, and all our contributing sponsors. I would like to thank all of our members who invest in OneRedmond, and in particular, our founder level investors, Microsoft, Nelson Legacy Group, and the City of Redmond. I want to take a moment now also to recognize the OneRedmond Board of Directors for their vision and support of the Redmond community as they provide leadership and direction of the organization. And I would also like to recognize the OneRedmond Foundation Board of Directors. As our nonprofit arm, they have taken a leadership role in our new One Eastside Foundation. This DBA was established to help in the recovery and support of our small businesses and our community. Thank you all for your support. And I would like to acknowledge our elected officials today. We have council members Tana Kapadye, Vanessa Kritzer, Jessica Forsyth, and David Carson from the City of Redmond. I would like to thank you all for being here today, as well as thank the entire council for their support. Also in our virtual audience, we have King County Council member Kathy Lambert and a representative from the Congressional Office of Susan Del Bene. As you all know, our region was the very first to be hit by this pandemic. The City of Redmond leadership prioritized our small businesses and chose to grant over $1.5 million toward the Small Business Resiliency Grant Fund. This is more than any other city in East King County. In partnership with the city, OneRedmond was able to award grant dollars to small businesses and nonprofit organizations throughout our city. And I'd like to give our mayor and our city council members a big thank you on behalf of all the grant recipients. We have received many, many calls and notes of appreciation And for those grant recipients here with us today, we invite you to share your appreciation in the chat box. So let's get going with our program. Next, I would like to introduce Mary Nelson Morrow, President of OneRedmond and the owner and managing director of Nelson Legacy Group. As some of you may know, the Nelson family has been a pillar of our community for almost 70 years. They acquired and built their first piece of commercial property in Redmond in 1952, when Redmond had a population of less than 1,000 people. As residents and small owners in the city of Redmond, they have been a foundation of our small business community. In addition to her work with Nelson, Mary serves as a partner and chairman of award-winning North Coast Moving and Storage. But community has also been a big passion for Mary. She has served in a variety of charities across the country that focus on women's education, K through 12 education, along with Alzheimer's and cancer research. And now I will turn it over to Mary Morrow, Director and Owner, Nelson Legacy Group, and President of the OneRedmond Board of Directors.
Thank you, Christina. I would like to add my welcome and thank you all for joining us this morning for the 2020 Virtual State of the City Summit. I have the honor of introducing Mayor Angela Birney for her first State of the City address. This is the first and probably not the last that she will deliver virtually. Although Mayor Birney is in her first year as mayor, she brings a wealth of experience. From 2018 to 2019, she served as council president. Prior to her council service, she was chair of the Redmond Parks and Trails Commission and volunteered her time at several different organizations throughout the Redmond community. Currently, Mayor Birney represents Redmond on the King County Regional Police Committee, Puget Sound Regional Council Executive Board, Sound Cities Association Board and Public Issues Committee, Cascade Water Alliance Board, Hope Link Board, King County Regional Homelessness Authority, I-405 SR 167 Executive Advisory Committee, and our very own OneRedmond Board. As a former middle school science teacher with a Master of Education, I have no doubt that Mayor Birney is well equipped to deal with the trials and tribulations she faces with city government. Dealing with 600 employees may even seem easy in comparison. Now, to kick off the State of the City, we have a video to share. It is an overview of what we have been through and a glimpse into what the future holds.
Hello, I'm Mayor Angela Birney. Some might use that familiar overused word to describe 2020, but I think we can all agree it will undoubtedly be one for the history books. In just the first 10 months of the year, we have experienced a 100-year flood, snowstorms, wildfires and extreme air quality warnings, a worldwide pandemic, and now a national recession. And whether you work or live in Redmond, we have all been affected by one or more of these historic events. Like many businesses in the community, city facilities have been closed to the public since mid-March. A good portion of city staff are telecommuting, while our essential staff continue to work in the field while wearing proper face coverings and maintaining social distancing. Although we have had to pivot and adjust where and how we do some of our work, we continue to focus on safety, service, and moving Redmond forward. Our public works and parks maintenance teams continue to maintain our parks, streets, water, and sewer services. And staff are currently preparing for the possibility of winter snow, ice, and wind. Development and construction in Redmond continues to remain above last year's level and has not slowed down since the governor reinstated the ability for that work to continue earlier this year. Home sales in Redmond and the region continue to be at an all-time high. The city has received over 303 grant applications from small and micro businesses and has distributed over $1.5 million so far. We are working on reimbursement grants for restaurants and businesses that have or will install parklets and streeteries. And we are currently working on our second round of CARES Act funds totaling over $300,000 for small business grants to use for creating additional outdoor dining areas. This month, the old Redmond Senior Center is sadly scheduled to be demolished. However, in October, City Council authorized the city to proceed with the design of a new community center that will be built on its existing site. In the meantime, the city continues to provide senior lunch services and stays in touch with our senior friends and families during this difficult time. And last but not least, our first responders continue to provide the Redmond community with the highest level of care and safety even as COVID-related calls are on the rise. No matter what the rest of the year might have in store for us, the City of Redmond is committed to delivering the level of service our community expects, along with the help and resources it needs to move forward through these challenging times.
Thank you, Mary, for that kind introduction. I'm happy to virtually see you all this morning. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join me. And thank you, OneRedmond and our State of the City sponsors for making this possible. In scheduling the State of the City this year, I will share that, not surprisingly, we had some delays. Presenting the State of the City to you in November allows me to give you a more detailed picture of how this year has unfolded. This year has not gone as planned, I think, for anyone. However, I want to share the strength and resiliency of our city, as well as where I see us heading in the future. When I took office in January, our economy was booming, and one of the greatest concerns I heard from our community was the challenges with affordability. We were growing as a connected, livable city. I was focused on making sure we were ready for light rail, we were an environmental leader, and we're doing our part to create opportunities for people to spend more time with their families and less time commuting. We had amazing opportunities before us. We were laying the foundation for the future. And then our world changed with COVID-19. This year has been a challenge, but my exceptional staff and I have been able to keep the city moving in new ways. We quickly transitioned our non-essential staff to remote work. We were able to provide our essential staff with PPE and changed protocols to keep them working safely. All our meetings, including council, boards and commissions, and work meetings, became virtual. Our customer services, including permitting, changed formats to provide services safely and remotely if possible. And these are just some of the many examples of the ways we have been able to pivot when business as usual was not a possibility. And still, 2020 has been a year of many unpredictable things. It has also allowed us as individuals and as a city to focus on what is really important. I remember back in elementary school of learning a trick of patting your head and rubbing your belly at the same time. And that is how this year has been for the City of Redmond, managing a pandemic and an economic downturn while still laying the foundation for beyond 2020. This foundation includes the city vision, emphasizing service first, the community strategic plan, continued community input, and the focus of making Redmond a leader locally, regionally, and nationally. We are achieving the vision of creating a city with 2 vibrant urban centers, enhancing livability and connections between our neighborhoods, and delivering high-quality services in partnership with our community. We use this as a starting point to where Redmond needs to go into the future. As a city, we continue to focus on service first. Our community is our focus, and the city is here to keep our community safe and support our residents. We are updating our technology systems infrastructure, including our finance, records, workforce, and development systems, as well as investing in the security of our networks. We have implemented citywide internal process efficiencies, as well as updated service delivery to better support our community. With our focus on the community, we have made significant investments in improving our city communications with improved community involvement tools, website updates, more extensive use of translation services, and developing and implementing the award-winning Community Strategic Plan. We have made significant investments in affordable housing and human services, including creating more housing units and getting the resources to the community members that need it the most through our community partners. We have made much needed improvements to our pool, public safety building, and fire stations. We have listened to the community and modernized programs within the city to better serve our residents, including adding an environmental sustainability manager, a facilities manager, embedding a mental health counselor with police, and have continued the mobile integrated health program in our emergency services. Our partnerships with Microsoft, Sound Transit, Imagine Housing, and others continue to be an important piece of continuing the work of the community and moving Redmond into the future. If 2020 wasn't already a historic year, the 100-year flood, unprecedented wildfires, and air quality warnings reminded all of us that our climate is changing. As part of our current budget, the city listened to our community and invested in creating a comprehensive environmental sustainability action plan to be directed by our sustainability manager. The 11-month effort included community involvement and outreach and has created a plan that will help guide the work that the city must do to reduce the city's effects on climate change. Our robust economy changed to something very different and unpredictable as the city staff and community stepped up and pivoted. We kept services up and running while keeping the community and each other safe. We had to make hard decisions, and I appreciate the staff and community efforts in this unprecedented time. Our city revenues have been impacted by the pandemic. While our development remains strong, ongoing sales tax, our recreation fund, and our utilities have been negatively impacted. I do want to share two important stories from this year that exemplify the strength of our community. When the lockdown began earlier in the year, construction projects were halted in their tracks, many with precarious situations. I worked with developers, unions, state, local, and regional officials, as well as health experts to reopen construction as quickly and safely as possible. We were all on the same page, keep our communities safe while keeping projects on time as much as possible. Working together with a common goal has helped to keep good paying jobs, continue much needed projects, and brought in revenue for the city. One of the things I love about Redmond are the many choices for dining. The lockdown and subsequent changes to health regulations threatened to reduce those choices and decimate many of our small businesses. Instead of waiting, our business owners worked with the city and we came together quickly to create a solution that would work for Redmond. And I am really geeking out on the streeteries right now. I cannot wait to see what else we come up with, pandemic or not. City and community response to COVID-19 has taken a lot of time and resources to keep us all safe and functioning as the pandemic continues. We have developed a recovery plan, worked in partnership with nonprofits, OneRedmond, and other government agencies to distribute CARES Act funding to the most impacted. This includes small and micro business relief, rental relief, food support, mask dispersal, as well as many other areas of emergency assistance. We have also embarked on our next comprehensive plan called Redmond 2050. That will help prepare us for our next phase of growth. This planning document is the foundation for Redmond moving forward. The in-depth process incorporates the needs of the community with the requirements delineated in Vision 2050, recently approved by the Puget Sound Regional Council. Growth projections are currently being worked on at the county level and will guide us for both population and job targets. Our planning will include environmental review and mitigation planning and will influence other functional plans and codes of the city into the future. In looking forward, we use a 6-year financial plan to then put together our 2-year budget. As we put the budget together, we focused on recovery from the pandemic and economic downturn, environmental sustainability, human services, infrastructure development and maintenance, and community safety. Our budget isn't just for the next 2 years. We made decisions to set up Redmond for a robust future. Along with our capital improvement program, we have 4 priorities for budgeting: healthy and sustainable, vibrant and connected, strategic and responsive, and safe and resilient. Each priority has overarching outcomes and then is broken down into offers that encompass all of the work of the city. I will briefly go through each priority to give you a flavor of our preliminary budget, which is available online if you're interested in knowing more. Healthy and sustainable. We value a healthy environment that supports an active community. The outcomes for this priority are environmental preservation responsibly balanced with growth, climate action goals achieved through green practices and policies, and places and programs that support an active and involved community. Some budget highlights for this priority include implementing the environmental sustainability plan, advancing green building, modernization of our recycling vents, tree canopy investment, and investing in a resilient infrastructure. Safe and resilient. We value a thriving community where all people feel safe. The outcomes are effective emergency prevention strategies, well-executed emergency responses, and comprehensive investigations that provide appropriate resolutions. Highlights include sound transit safety, our public safety levy, increased capacity for fire and building inspections, police Lexipol, asphalt repair and crack sealing, increasing capacity to promote traffic mobility and reliability of our traffic systems, increased training for fire and police, citywide safety training program, and supporting behavioral health services and public safety. Strategic and responsive. We value a city that is welcoming, service-oriented, and fiscally responsible. The outcomes are fiscally responsible organization, welcoming, innovative, and continuous learning culture, and leadership that aligns community needs with strategic planning and city operations. Highlights include safeguarding and managing community resources, investing in our staff, timely, consistent, and transparent communication, diversity, equity, and inclusion manager and strategic plan, maintenance and operations center planning, improving efficiencies between departments, migration to cloud services, adaptive signal improvements, support of smart city technology, including investments in fiber. Vibrant and connected community. We value a well-planned and supported community that provides a sense of place. The outcomes are a transportation system that supports multimodal movement of people and goods, city services and programs that enhance quality of life and community prosperity, and city services and future growth facilitated by a high-quality public infrastructure and facilities. Highlights include our Housing Action Plan, the 2050 Comprehensive Plan, a Transportation Master Plan, Park Plan, and a Human Services Strategic Plan. Continued support of human services, including our homelessness outreach, continued support of ARCH, as well as leveraging regional and private partnerships, including support of development services and our Microsoft Refresh staffing. The council is currently working through the preliminary budget during their meetings through November. Comments on the budget can be sent to bpquestions@redmond.gov. As we move into 2021 and beyond, we as a city will continue to be innovative partners in the work of keeping our communities safe and resilient for whatever the future may hold. Thank you. And now I will turn it over to Christina Hudson.
Well, thank you, Mayor, for the presentation. And now we are at the Q&A portion of our program. I do want to remind everyone, if you can put yourselves on mute, that would be great so everybody can hear the program. So if you do have questions, we invite you to post them in the chat and the comment section. We won't have time for everyone's question. However, we do have staff monitoring all channels, including Zoom and Facebook Live. So we're going to begin with Mejdi Daher from Denali Advanced Integration, representing our tech sector.
Great. Thank you so much, Christina. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mayor Birney. Thank you, City Council, for this opportunity to listen to the plans for the future and how we're going to all overcome the pandemic and the challenges we're all facing in Redmond together. When my brothers and I started our business 28 years ago in Redmond, it was a really tiny place, right? It wasn't as tiny as 1950s, but it was a tiny place. And we really enjoyed watching Redmond grow and prosper. And especially in the last 10 years when OneRedmond partnered with the city to really figure out how to bring people who work in Redmond to live in Redmond. And I think that project has been widely successful, which resulted into a continuous, vibrant economy for the city of Redmond. So we're very, very proud of the work that the private sector and the public sector have come together, really, and it's a model of how these kind of relationships should evolve and happen. So congratulations on that. I think the challenge, my question is really about, there's been a lot of work to develop, places for people to live in Redmond. And right now with remote work and the largest employers who reside in Redmond really are saying remote work. So what are the plans for the city to keep those who live in Redmond continue to live in Redmond? And what plans do you have to really talk to employers to see, what efforts are you going to do to keep people in Redmond? That's very important for us. So thank you for the opportunity. That's my question.
Thank you so much. I will take a stab at answering this, but one of the things that I like to keep in mind, though we are in a pandemic right now, eventually that will end. We still have major construction happening in our city, including the Microsoft Refresh. So although Microsoft employees are mostly working from home, the eventuality of them coming back to Redmond to work will be happening. We also want to make sure we keep Redmond a really strong business environment and continue to attract and retain companies and workers to our city. We also want to make sure that we keep that dialogue open using our partnerships like with OneRedmond to make sure that we are serving the needs of our community, be it business or residents or whoever comes and decides to hang out in Redmond or shop or eat here. We want to make sure that we're doing what we can to continue to make Redmond a welcoming and innovative place for people to stay and work and keep that vibrancy that we have always had. So we're still keeping our eye on that long term of where do we go both during this pandemic and after.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have local small business owner Alex Fong from Sinorama.
Good morning. Thanks a lot, Mayor Birney, for all the things that you do, the City Council, as well as OneRedmond for supporting the small business. As from the earlier question, I think as a small business, we depend a lot on great people. Payroll is by far the largest singular line item for many of the small business P&L. Mayor Birney, you touched on the topic of affordability as you open up your presentation this morning. Could you maybe speak a little bit about some specific examples on how we can help City of Redmond be perhaps a more affordable place to live and work? And what do you think small businesses should do, like myself, to maybe help advocate for the City of Redmond as a great place to live and work, and yet also at the same time be affordable? Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Well, I think that you are a sign company, so I think that we have a great opportunity to put some signs up around town, and I'm pretty certain I've seen them around. So thank you for doing your part there. I think that it is a regional problem of affordability. People want to live here. It's a beautiful place. We have the mountains, we have nature, we have an exceptional workforce. We have high quality schools and both K-12 as well as secondary or post-secondary in our area. So people are really desiring to live here, which causes some of our affordability challenges. I think continuing to develop housing choices throughout not just Redmond, but throughout the region, working in partnership with all of the other work that's going on, continuing to make sure there's opportunities for people to open up smaller businesses and continue to grow, and keeping those relationships with OneRedmond or whatever it might be in our area to create those partnerships to realize some of those opportunities that are out there. I think that as we look at affordability, there's some simple things you could say, well, we need to build more housing. What does that look like? But I think that it's really those collaborations with, as we work through our comprehensive plan, how do we provide opportunities for not just particular kinds of housing, be they suburban with a large yard or a apartment in a downtown or urban area, but what are those transitional places as well, and kind of in the middle, like how do we develop some of those opportunities for home ownership so people can increase their own personal wealth, their own family wealth. So those are some of the areas we're looking at. I'll continue to work regionally with in different ideas of how do we improve the affordability throughout the region as well. The more we can help other communities surrounding us build housing, I think that reduces the tension on Redmond itself. Although I love that people are moving here, I think it's fantastic. And, I think it's really challenging right now to purchase a home in Redmond. At the same time, I would love to make it a little easier for families so they don't feel that stress of the bidding wars that are going on right now. So I think it's a complex long-term problem, but I think that as long as we kind of keep working through it, keep our eye on the long-term goal of creating a really inclusive city where people want to continue to live and have the opportunity to live here, I think that we will continue working on the solutions that are possible.
Great. Thanks a lot, Mayor Birney.
Thank you.
And now representing our healthcare services industry, Rue Kosa from The Perfect Push.
Hey, Mayor Birney. Thanks for taking my question. I just want to say thank you so much for your leadership during this time. COVID has been crazy, and just having you at the helm has been so reassuring for us. Thank you for pushing forward and making sure that the grant money was not only awarded, but done in such a fast and amazing way, in a manner in which we all felt it was so transparent and really, really helpful. So on behalf of all the small businesses who benefited, I can't thank you enough for your leadership there. But I am, as a small business owner with a lactation and parenting wellness clinic, I want to know what the City of Redmond is doing, especially to support, women-owned and minority-owned businesses, to make sure that you are increasing our visibility and our seat at the table. We have such a rich tech community and corporate community. And to use us as an example, is we have a phenomenal parenting program, but it's only phenomenal to me because we are unable to get it in front of big corporations who would then present it to their employees and allow them to then use our services. For example, a small independent owned fitness company. How do we get them more competitive with these big corporate companies? When you've got Columbia Sports Club, you've got Pro Club, and those are where most big corporations allow their employees to get discounts and preferred pricing. How do you put us in the room? How do you guarantee that we too are getting a seat at the table?
Thank you. Well, and thank you for everything you're doing. I know that, as we've stated, this pandemic has been extremely challenging on so many businesses, and particularly small businesses. So thank you for keeping going in spite of all of this. I really appreciate it. A few different fronts. During our CARES Act dispersal, we were very intentional about reaching out to different communities to make sure that they knew that the help was available. I do also know that OneRedmond has offered a lot of small business assistance, not just for those that accepted or were able to apply for grants, but for other small businesses that were in need of assistance just in figuring out how to move forward. So that will continue, of course. But we as a city, we have a really amazing opportunity here. We are extremely diverse community. We have a lot of people such as yourself that are interested in having started small businesses or continuing their small business or thinking about doing something and filling a need that we don't currently have in our community. And so I think it's important we as a city continue the work to make sure we have opportunities available for all and really reach out to different segments of our community to make sure that message is getting out there. The addition of a diversity, equity, inclusion manager to our city, I think that's one of the areas that we as a city can be much more intentional about who we're reaching out to and how we're reaching out to different communities. So that is one of the focus that I had. It was a focus when I took office. It's still a focus that I have, that we need to make sure that we're adding opportunities to everyone who chooses to live or work in Redmond. And what that looks like could be very different. If my dad owned his own business, so I have a little bit of an education in that, what that would take to have your own business. But for someone who's coming from outside of the Northwest, might not know what our systems are, how things work. And so it's important for us to really have a realization of that and open up those opportunities in different ways. So we're really doing our part in making sure a lot of opportunities are available for all that are here. So that's one area. And I know that we will continue that work. I've been working regionally with some of the other elected officials in our region. And we all know that this is a huge challenge regionally as well, as people come to the area and they have a great idea that they really want to get started on. We need to make sure those resources are available regionally as well to make sure we can keep our economy strong. It's important that we have that diversity, not just of different kinds of businesses, but of people from all over who are willing to do the work and have the businesses open in our community, create that diversity. So it will come back to us as well as we invest in that. And so I'm looking forward to some of those opportunities. I will also say that our comprehensive plan, as we look forward in developing that, one of the things our team is looking at is an environmental lens as well as a diversity lens to make sure that we're really creating the opportunities in the city we say we want to create by our basic comprehensive plan and what our codes look like. So those are some other ways that I see us being able to continue to do the work we need to do to make sure any business can be successful in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and next from our restaurant sector, we have Tim Short from Redmond's Bar and Grill.
Thank you, Christina. Mayor Birney, good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to start by thanking the mayor, council, and city staff for their quick implementation of the Streetery program this past summer. It's been an invaluable addition for my restaurant and many other restaurants in the city of Redmond, so thank you. Mayor Birney, my question this morning, as we continue to navigate this pandemic for the foreseeable future, what plans might the city of Redmond have to continue supporting local restaurants that are operating under reduced capacities due to state mandate, especially as we enter the cooler winter months where outdoor seating becomes less viable?
Thank you so much, Tim, for that question. And I do really want to thank you again for the work that you and other community members did to really come to the table and see what we can make happen quickly. Obviously the changes in our community were drastic and not anticipated. And so I really appreciate all the work that you have done to create that opportunity for you and other businesses to open up the streeteries. I see us moving into the winter. I think there are a few things that we're doing. We're going to set forward some winterization efforts that help give some opportunities, like a toolkit for businesses to deploy into the winter. We are also working on a reimbursement grant for outdoor dining and winterization for small businesses. And from a personal note, I think one of the things that I have to share is that when I have a child that played soccer year round, and you had winter gear, you had rain gear, you had warm clothes, you just dressed for the weather, and you kept going. And so I think it's important for us as a community to think about how do we continue to make that outdoor dining option sustainable for our community, and think about different ways to make it a little more accessible, maybe a little bit warmer, maybe, and then maybe do our parts as individuals to dress appropriately. Because I have to say, to be able to walk around downtown Redmond and other areas of Redmond and see the outdoor dining, and to kind of really explore what opening up our open spaces are to businesses as well, it really adds to the vibrancy of our community. And I don't want to be worried that the rain is going to make those things go away, because I think they really do add that vibrancy. And I think that we have the capability of continuing it on through the winter with some small adaptations. So I think all the businesses are trying to do their part. We as a city are trying to help you with adaptations and a toolkit. And also I think each of us as community members need to think about, how do I still make it work in sitting outside if that's what I choose to do to keep my family safe and keep healthy and safe. So I think it's going to take all of us working together, but I am really excited about the innovations that we could come up with. The streeteries themselves are a wonderful addition to our community, and I think we should be looking for ways to continue those even post-pandemic. I also think that we have some other opportunities of ideas that are out there that other communities have created, and I think that's something that Redmond should look at as well moving into the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mary Birney. We do have a question from the audience. What regions are you working with to expand housing that would help small businesses?
What regions? Well, I work through Sound Cities Association, which is all of the cities outside of Seattle, and we are continuing to work on affordable housing and opportunities for that. King County recently passed a sales tax that will start in January with a focus on creating affordable housing at the lowest levels to get people into permanent housing with resources as well. I think that, like I said, it's just a regional effort. I am encouraging my neighboring cities to increase the opportunities for people to build in their communities as well. So that, right now I would say that Redmond is probably has been able to create the most housing throughout our entire region as a city. And we're a medium-sized city, but we really have taken the lead in what it looks like to create housing. And I think that working with the other neighboring cities, regionally as well, to encourage them to kind of continue on that track as well, to just alleviate some of the stresses that I think our community members feel as well, because we have grown so rapidly. And so creating that spread to neighboring cities to help them develop as well. Working with the Puget Sound Regional Council on, I mentioned those in the State of the City, the targets that we have for population and jobs. Those numbers are starting to be worked on, and they will come out soon. And so we as a community also want to make sure that we're meeting our goals as well within the Growth Management Act, to make sure we're putting the housing inside our city and keeping our green and open spaces as pristine as possible. And so some of those things are areas we're working on as well. If that individual wants to contact me directly, we can talk more. There's a lot of complicated things going on right now, but with that focus on creating the housing that we really need and creating affordable housing, not to talk too long about this, but you think about different businesses in our community, and we have wonderful high-paying jobs in our tech sector, and we also have wonderful supporting jobs in some of our office manager, be you a teacher or working in a restaurant, and you need different levels of housing than someone who works at Microsoft does. And my husband used to work there, so not trying to not trying to say anything negative about that, but it creates different affordability levels, and we as a city really need to be intentional about that. That's what we're working on our housing action plan, to really take a look at what kind of housing we need to provide, so that someone who works in a moderately paying job doesn't spend 2 hours commuting to Redmond, so that they can do their job. And so it's really important for me to continue that development as we move along into the years.
Well, thank you, Mayor Birney. And I want to let everyone know we are getting an overwhelming amount of response for thanks and appreciation to the city. And on behalf of all those folks here on the virtual meeting today and on OneRedmond, we very much appreciate the hard work and dedication from city leadership and staff that has been demonstrated day in and day out. And I think we can all say we are looking forward to what 2021 may bring for our community. And speaking of community, I would like to introduce a new campaign that we are launching today, Our Redmond Heroes. It's a campaign celebrating our essential workers in our community who have worked and who continue to work tirelessly through this pandemic. To help launch Our Redmond Heroes, I turn it back over to Mayor Birney for the official proclamation.
Thank you, Christina. Again, here's the proclamation. Whereas the governor of the state of Washington declared a state of emergency on February 29th, 2020 in response to COVID-19, and whereas the global COVID-19 pandemic continues to affect our community in Redmond and throughout Washington state, and whereas despite the hardships and health risks, our essential frontline workers, including our first responders, healthcare staff, local grocers, public transit operators, solid waste workers, and more have continued to do their jobs in supporting our community. And whereas our nonprofit teams and volunteers from HopeLink, Friends of Youth, the Together Center, the Lake Washington Schools Foundation, and others have come together to feed, shelter, and provide support for our most vulnerable community members. And whereas representatives from our private and public sectors, including King County, OneRedmond, the Business Health Trust, and Amazon, have partnered to lead initiatives that help to protect our community, such as the King County Safe Start PPE kit program that resulted in the distribution of over 2.5 million masks and close to 40,000 bottles of sanitizer to small businesses throughout the county. And whereas the fight to sustain our community, our small businesses, and our culture is ongoing, and whereas the City of Redmond values all those who have been working tirelessly, our essential frontline workers and our heroes of COVID-19 to help our community through the pandemic. Now, therefore, I, Angela Birney, Mayor of the City of Redmond, do hereby proclaim November 5th, 2020 as Our Redmond Heroes Day in Redmond to celebrate the essential workers in our community and to affirm the city's appreciation of their hard work and dedication to our community.
Thank you. And from now until the end of the year, we invite you to nominate your favorite essential worker, share your stories and photos of heroes in our community. We will then recognize, honor, and show our appreciation to these heroes by sharing the generous contributions from our program partners and sponsors, including Amazon, Business Health Trust, Overlake Medical Centers, and others in our community. Stay tuned for an email that will launch the program and to learn how to make your nomination. So thank you again, Mayor Birney, for the proclamation, and thanks to all our essential workers who support our community every day. Next, I bring back Mary Morrow, President of the OneRedmond Board of Directors, to honor our past President of the OneRedmond Board, Robert Pantley.
Thank you again, Christina. Robert Pantley is a Northwest native, deeply focused on making the region a better place for all people to live. He is a strong supporter of 10-minute communities and has focused his efforts on expanding the affordable housing options on the East Side. Natural and Built Environments, Robert's award-winning company, embodies the philosophy Robert lives by. Since 2010, all projects have been LEED certified, most at the highest level, LEED Platinum. They hold 34 certificates, the highest number held by any private or public company in the state of Washington. Robert is profoundly committed to the cities in which he lives and works. He served as Kirkland City Council member, Kirkland Park Board Chair, on the Redmond Code Rewrite Commission, and is the past president of OneRedmond. OneRedmond has benefited not only from his involvement, but also from his ability to bring about real change. Robert is one of the most otherly people I have met. When he learned that he was to be recognized at today's State of the City Summit, he said, "I don't want the focus to be about me. I want the focus to be on OneRedmond and what we have done collectively." As such, I'm sure Robert would rather be anywhere but here at this moment. Perhaps salmon fishing? But today we are honoring Robert's commitment to OneRedmond and the City of Redmond. His dedication to the communities in which he lives and works is inspiring. He not only believes in making them better for all, he also succeeds. So today, Robert, I would like to recognize you for your commitment and service to OneRedmond and the City of Redmond.
Well, I've got tears in my eyes. So they gave me this. It's got a beautiful red bow. I don't know what's in it. Let's see. I brought his scissors just in case I couldn't open it.
Oh, good, good.
So, so I want to say thank you, but it is about all of us, truly. You know, being united, being together, working this out. So many people, the council, the mayor, the executive director, the board, the foundation, the business people, everybody. It's what makes us strong, and to work together and find a unity together. And so they got all kinds of goodies in here, and I am deeply appreciative, and I will keep this at my desk right here. What can I say? I didn't know what else to say, but thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Well, Robert, on behalf of the OneRedmond board and staff, I would like to present you with this gift of our appreciation for your service to this organization and the Redmond community. In tribute to your tireless effort to create a sustainable community, we will be planting a tree in your honor this spring at a city park in Redmond. Inside this box, you will see the plaque to commemorate your service and a certificate that reads, "He who plants a tree plants a hope." So we greatly look forward to the socially distanced tree planting ceremony this spring with you, and to continue to work with you in your organization, Natural and Built Environments, in expanding 10-minute communities with sustainable and affording houseable opportunities. So thank you very much, Robert.
Well, thank you, and thank you all.
Yes.
And Robert, as you were my first board president at OneRedmond as the executive director, I would like to personally thank you for your wisdom, your vision, and your guidance. Thank you.
Thank you.
So to wrap the program for today, we are going to close with the premiere of the new tourism video from Experience Redmond. This video showcases the wonderful attractions and activities to geek out on in our fabulous city. This is something that I know you will all like very much. But before we roll the video, I want to say thank you again to Mayor Birney and the City of Redmond. I want to say thank you to all our sponsors of today's events. And I want to give a special thank you to Tenacious Ventures for helping us with this amazing virtual production today. Thank you to all our members who invest in OneRedmond and the future of our community. And last, but certainly not least, I would like to thank you for all participating. Have a great rest of your day. Please stay safe and healthy and enjoy the show.